Hello, welcome everyone. This is Melissa Fricky with Calix. I'll just give everyone another minute and we'll get started.
All right, I think it's leveled off, Melissa. I think we can get started. So welcome everyone.
Welcome everyone. I just want to thank you for joining today's webinar, the new Wi-Fi strategy providers use to accelerate growth in residential and business markets. Before our presenters begin, I'd like to share a few quick tips so you can get the most out of your webinar experience. Located in the top toolbar on the right side, you'll see your settings and control panel. This is where you'll find the question section. The question section will have a box with a question mark within the toolbar. This is where you go to submit questions or comments during the presentation. We'll address those during the Q&A session at the end. If we don't get to yours, we'll send you a written response. Finally, there'll be live poll questions for you to take part in throughout the webinar, and we'd like to thank you in advance for your participation in those. This webinar will be recorded, and we will send a link in the coming days on the Calix Hub and an email that will arrive in your inbox for your convenience. Kevin, the mic is all yours.
Great, thank you, Melissa. So welcome everyone, good afternoon. If you could go to the next slide. So very happy that all of you took the time to join us for this very compelling webinar. Based on the title, you'll see the main theme of this is around outdoor Wi-Fi and some of the successes. And you'll see when I go over the speakers that are featured in this particular webinar, they'll share with you their success stories in terms of how they've deployed and utilized and leveraged outdoor Wi-Fi in not only from a residential perspective, but also a small business deployment standpoint. And then you'll see in front of you the agenda. We'll go through introductions. I'll kind of give a brief little overview of the market opportunity around outdoor Wi-Fi, talk a little bit about the value. What's the inherent value of outdoor Wi-Fi and how does that drive differentiation in the marketplace? And then some of the benefits that customers that have deployed, and you'll hear more from my featured guests as well. And then we'll turn it over to the Smithville and Trico Go. And Smithville in Indiana and Trico Go in Georgia, they'll share with you some of the great deployment successes that they've had, some of the best learnings, and some of the, what they've got at it and how they can kind of convey to you some of the kind of hints and tricks and trades of the sort in terms of how they succeeded in deploying a very successful Wi-Fi offering. And then we'll end it with Q&A. So let me kind of talk about the speakers, and I'm joined today by a great set of esteemed speakers as well, by my colleague Andy Wapplinger. He is the Senior Solutions Marketing Manager, Smart Biz. I'm also from Calix. I'm a director in the Residential and Community Wi-Fi Solution Marketing team. And Andy and I are both honored to be joined today by Chris Dobson. He comes from Smithville in Indiana. He's the product manager of the at-home portfolio. And we're also joined by Greg Mullis. He's the Chief Operating Officer from Trico Go in Georgia, and he'll be joined by Christopher Jackson, who will runs the marketing efforts for Trico Go. So welcome everyone. Do appreciate your support and participation. Next slide. Okay, so if you go, I'll kind of review the next Wi-Fi opportunity. This is about, we all know today, internet traffic, some little tidbits of information here, 53% of the US traffic is delivered over Wi-Fi. So as you know, it's really a fundamental element in our today's lifestyle. Whenever we're, where we work, play, visit, vacation, Wi-Fi plays an integral part in terms of how we communicate, how we gain access, how we get data. It really is a core fundamental of how we live our lives today. Go to the next slide, Andy. Just want to spend a couple seconds here on capturing the scope and scale of Wi-Fi by the numbers, right? It's really dependent upon, the broadband household numbers, first of all, and you'll see that some of the numbers are pretty staggering in terms of the multitude of households within the US where broadband plays an integral part in how they live and work and work from home or whatever it may be. But outdoor Wi-Fi, based on the Mordor intelligence, as you see there, it's a billion-dollar business. So we're looking at 7 billion in 2024, and it's projected to go up to 11 billion in 2029. So just based on that, those projections are staggering, and we know that the opportunity around outdoor Wi-Fi is quite huge and significant. So we'll have a couple of interactive polls interspersed throughout this, and we really want to capture your thoughts on outdoor Wi-Fi. What are your thoughts in terms of the next few months? So the first one here is, do you plan on implementing outdoor Wi-Fi in the next 6 months? And if you could go forward and just select one of the answers there, we'll gather that information and then we'll move on. Okay, great, thank you. So let's talk a little bit about outdoor Wi-Fi. Well, the value proposition of outdoor Wi-Fi, it's kind of been, I wouldn't say, it's kind of a best kept secret, right? So in our industry today, in the telecom arena, we really haven't had a lot of visibility and communication around outdoor Wi-Fi deployments. And I think it's really starting to ramp very quickly. And that's why it's kind of, we're at a great point in time where broadband service providers really need to take advantage of this best kept secret, I'll call it, in how they could offer this as a value add to their subscribers, but also for themselves as well as service providers. So outdoor Wi-Fi in a nutshell, it's really about delivering those subscriber experiences and growing revenue with a set of smart life managed services, right? That really fit the lifestyle and what their needs and interests are in terms of where they live, work, and play. You want to drive differentiation with that safe and secure managed Wi-Fi. If you go back one more, Andy. Wi-Fi experiences that support your outdoor lifestyle. And last but not least, you want to simplify integration and speed deployments with platform-driven operations. If you go to the next slide. So as I said, right, demands are evolving as we grow. So either between the residential or community or business segments, all of the subscribers really want that seamless experience everywhere. And that's what we want to hope and convey, that not only you want that kind of such scenario in your home, but you want to have that same experience outdoors as you go outside of your home. Next slide. So really the main crux of the value proposition of outdoor Wi-Fi is really you want to deliver that end-to-end whole home managed Wi-Fi subscriber experience. You can do that and connect that by bundling it with an outdoor lifestyle value-based offer. That's, we kind of suggest that to our customers, and how we bundle those experiences and the needs and interests of really what they're looking for. They need to be customized and personalized, and it's all about delivering what they're looking for. Activating the outdoor applications to deliver those safe and secure experiences really help the BSPs in terms of providing that and strengthening that relationship, that customer subscriber relationship. And that obviously equates to better loyalty, customer retention, all of the great things that really help in terms of profitability of a broadband service provider. And last but not least, it generates incremental revenue. I'm going to go over some case studies as well. It really helps differentiate what you can offer your subscribers that no other of your competitors can. Next slide. So I'll go really quick here. This really helps in terms of how we're positioning outdoor Wi-Fi as an integral role within our managed solutions. So from a smart home perspective, we're looking at those buy-up options, right, as a bolt-on offer or bundled plans. And you'll hear more from Chris and Greg and Christopher from how they're bundling some of their outdoor Wi-Fi offers very innovatively to their subscribers. Smart Biz, you'll hear a little bit from Andy in terms of how to position Smart Biz in terms of the small businesses, what inherent value that Smart Biz provides to outdoor applications within the small business arena. And last but not least, we also offer the community-wide Wi-Fi outdoor, which really helps connect that lifestyle to like events and community interests that are throughout your community via our Smart Town managed solution. Next slide, Andy. So another poll, which service do you plan on offering in the next year? And you'll see 4 choices there. If you could just select one, that would be fantastic. Great, we're getting some good responses, and I'm very happy to see about community Wi-Fi and the interest there. Fantastic. Okay. Thank you. So I want to really focus on for a few minutes around the outdoor Wi-Fi systems portfolio. It really is there to connect and protect your lifestyle when you go outside of your home. So we offer 3 specific systems that span various use cases in the outdoors, going from the workshop or pool area in your backyard all the way down to docks and farmlands and hospitality and retail outlets. So if you go to the next slide, I'm going to give you a little bit of glimpse of each of those specific systems. We have the GigaSpire U4HM, which you will hear later in the presentation from both our customers. This is the premier residential outdoor mesh solution. It offers Gig E, WAN and LAN. It has PoE capability as well and can be installed on a wall or a pole. It's a true mesh satellite solution. We offer also a GigaPro P6HE. So this is an omnidirectional outdoor PoE Wi-Fi or mesh solution. And this really is targeted for the communities and events when you think about trying to support a carnival or a festival in your community. It offers 2.5 gig WAN and LAN, and it is PoE as well. And this is a Wi-Fi 6E system. And last, we have the GigaPro P6DX. This is our long-range Wi-Fi system solution, up to 1 mile. And it will help you not only, when you think about RV parks, or you talk about recreational parks, or going, marinas. This is a great application and system for kind of supporting that to subscribers when on the go and looking at kind of the long-range scenario. Next slide, Andy. Okay, this is just a quick little snapshot of some of our customers that really have embraced the outdoor Wi-Fi and how they're differentiating from their competitors. You'll see Trico and Smithville featured on the slide as well. So you'll see how they're positioning it from a web content and some of the messaging that they're conveying, as long as several other customers that you see on the left-hand side. And the next slide shows some case studies that we have developed over time, and it just summarizes the benefits, the value that has been realized by the broadband service providers that have deployed an outdoor Wi-Fi offering. So The main crux here is to really understand is the incremental ARPU that's driven by an outdoor Wi-Fi offer. You'll see it goes from, all the way from $9.99 all the way up to $15. And this is a per month revenue, incremental revenue stream. So great news in terms of when you're looking for a lift in your top line. It also helps in terms of net promoter scores and how your subscribers are portraying your broadband service provider by providing this value add offer. So a lot of great things. These are available today. Just wanted to kind of point that out to you. If you go to the next slide, which I think is my last, just wanted to give some, I guess, a little bit of advice in terms of what's currently accessible for customers that are partnering with us in deploying an outdoor Wi-Fi. These are all great marketing assets that are available in our electronic content builder. Goes all the way from bill inserts to email templates to door hangers. So we're here to help. We want to make sure you're successful in deploying an outdoor Wi-Fi. So please let us know how we can help and kind of partner with you going forward. With that, I want to turn it over. Oh, I'm sorry, one more interactive poll. Would you like to talk to someone on implementing outdoor Wi-Fi for your subscriber? If you could answer that question, that would be fantastic. Okay. And with that, I want to turn it over to Andy.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. For those who may not be as familiar with SmartBiz, SmartBiz is our all-in-one solution that's designed for specifically small businesses. So straight out of the box, SmartBiz keeps your small business community connected, protected, and it allows these business owners to really focus on growing their business and enabling them not just to survive, but to thrive. Apologies. So in order for these businesses to thrive, they're constantly having to navigate and push through a variety of challenges. These are some of the top 10 challenges that we've found out through other business owners and getting their feedback of what are they kind of experiencing on a day-to-day basis? What are the top of mind issues that they're dealing with? And I think that as a broadband experience provider, you're really in a position to directly impact some of these challenges. I think some notable ones I want to call out here, attracting and retaining new customers by utilizing, offering a great Wi-Fi experience for their visitors that are coming in and being able to collect contact information, building up an email list through the brandable customer Wi-Fi portal. You can help reduce their costs associated with IT by reducing the cost and complexity of their entire network infrastructure. You can improve their workforce productivity with network-wide cybersecurity and customizable content filters. And you can help increase their profitability by ensuring that they always have fast, reliable connectivity. You're lowering their IT costs and you're helping them stay protected against these money-draining cyber attacks. So we're curious, now that we've looked at a couple of these challenges, we picked a few out from that list. We're kind of curious, if you're currently offering a small business solution, do you feel like it's addressing any of these particular challenges that business owners are facing? All right, thank you all for sharing. So with all these challenges and with your position as a partner and experience provider, how can you be supporting your small business community in the best way possible? So these are the key components that we believe really make up a good small business solution that ultimately, BSPs like you should be providing. Network-wide, these are the key components anyway. So the network-wide cybersecurity protection, isolated networks, this enables these businesses to stay within regulatory compliance. And we think that these are a bare minimum that should be offered to your business community. Beyond that, offering business continuity using a secondary backup connection, offering visitor Wi-Fi, and also having built-in staff management, staff connectivity management are really valuable features that can really start to differentiate SmartBiz from any other residential or other small business networking solution. Easy networking management through a mobile app offers a better user experience to the business owner while also lowering your own support costs, because that allows the business owner to self-service their network. They don't have to call you to make little changes. They can handle a lot of issues themselves. And then lastly, especially relevant to today's topic, is being able to provide fast and reliable connectivity, no matter where the business equipment is, the staff are located, or where their customers are, whether they're inside or outside, near or far. And SmartBiz offers all of this right out of the box for businesses of all shapes and sizes. So while not every business will require every feature of SmartBiz, it's fully adaptable to whichever business type that you're walking into and selling to and installing at. These businesses could be places like places of worship, RV parks, car repair shops, bars and breweries. The list really just goes on and on as to what SmartBiz is made for and adaptable to. And with all of our great outdoor Wi-Fi systems, they really do open the door to some really unique opportunities like farmers markets, nurseries, golf courses, RV parks, a lot of these outdoor expansive small businesses that you may not really think initially as a small business, but it turns out smart business is really well suited for. And then also as Kevin mentioned, with our long range outdoor Wi-Fi systems, leveraging the new GigaPro P6DX, SmartBiz quite literally goes the distance. With up to about a mile of connectivity outdoors, it enables widespread connectivity across farms, marinas, places like that. And we have one other poll here, wondering if you would be interested in talking to somebody about a small business consult at some point in the near future. All right, thank you for that. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Chris Dobson from Smithville.
Awesome, thank you. Looking forward to the conversation today. So as Andy said, my name is Chris Dobson, and I oversee Smithville's residential product portfolio. And I was responsible for launching our outdoor Wi-Fi solution last year. A bit of a background on Smithville. Smithville is located in Ellettsville, Indiana, just a few miles away from Indiana University. Smithville is Indiana's largest privately held communications company, and we recently celebrated our 100th anniversary as a company back in 2022. So as a fifth generation family-owned business, we pride ourselves on our commitment to the community and to excellent customer service. Smithville started as a traditional telephone company, but began to deploy fiber technology back in the early 90s. Today, Smithville has constructed more than 3,000 miles of high-speed fiber, serving both residential and commercial customers across 22 Indiana counties. So really, as I begin to set the table here for our conversation, Smithville is a bit unique in how we went to market with our fiber product. For the last, I'd say 10, 15 years, we've only offered one speed tier. 1 gig. Instead of focusing on speed and price for years, our focus has really been on offering the best experience for the customer. Over the years, as we've seen more competition enter our markets, we began evaluating our offering and asking ourselves, how do we add additional value and revenue streams beyond just the internet? So back in 2023, we launched our managed Wi-Fi solution we call Wi-Fi Plus. Our residential version of that offering is utilizing the Calix ecosystem of GigaSpire routers and attaching services like Experience and Protect IQ and offering that bundle of services along with our 1 gig internet for a single price to the customer. We also, back in 23, launched our business version of that using the Calix SmartBiz solution. At launch for both of those offerings, we launched with an indoor mesh extender. We're utilizing the Calix U-Force for that. That customers could add for a small monthly cost to expand their Wi-Fi coverage indoors if they had a larger property. Fast forward a little bit, Wi-Fi Plus was super successful for us. And the majority of our new customers were now selecting that option versus just fiber internet by itself. So from there, we really began to focus on, well, how could we attach even more to Wi-Fi Plus and really provide even more value for our customers, increase Wi-Fi Plus adoption, and provide even more revenue streams for the business. So after a lot of market research, a lot of conversations that we had with our customers, we began to offer Arlo through Calix in addition to other professional monitored smart home security solutions. We rolled out outdoor mesh extenders, kind of our outdoor Wi-Fi solution. During this time, we're utilizing the Calix U4HM for that. And that allowed customers to add on outdoor Wi-Fi to their Wi-Fi Plus subscription for a small monthly fee. Outdoor Wi-Fi and cameras in particular were solutions that our customers told us that they wanted. So this allowed us to extend Wi-Fi coverage to customers' yards, pools, fire pits, workshops, as well as attach other devices like those Arlo cameras, smart locks, smart thermostats, security sensors, which again, customers could add for a small monthly cost. Now, instead of just offering that internet pipe, now we're offering and solving a very unique problems for our customers and attaching tons of value above and beyond the internet connection. Again, leading with that value and experience here versus just speed and price. So if you jump to that next one, as we kind of shift into best practices, again, our outdoors Wi-Fi configuration was, we're using the U4HM unit without an installation, and we're just charging a recurring monthly cost for that. That configuration's mostly using the wireless backhaul. So really my only requirement from an installation perspective is power. I have to power the unit. Our desire as we go along here is with outdoor Wi-Fi, we want to discover what problems the customer is trying to solve with that outdoor Wi-Fi solution, then attach other solutions on top of that. So that could be anything from cameras to other connected devices. Through that, I have some best practices and things to consider to really accelerate your outdoor deployments. The first of those being, now is a good time. With spring right around the corner here, it's starting to warm up here in Indiana. It's a good time to start offering this outdoor solution. This time of the year, people are beginning to go outdoors. They're opening up the pool. They're opening up that she shed, if you will. And we launched about a year ago this last spring and really saw decent growth up through the fall time. I'd say our strategy tends to follow a crawl, walk, run approach. So where we initially launch and we do a little and we learn a lot as we go through that. So I guess my first tip is to take advantage of these warmer months. Don't feel like the solution has to be perfect as you start. Get out there, start testing in your markets, and you can always iterate as you learn more. Second tip is we used a segmented and omni-channel marketing approach to promote our offering with customers. So examples, and you can see a few here on the slide, we ran pieces that were more rural use case focused, so targeting customers in more of those rural settings. So you can kind of imagine images of barns and really focusing more on that rural use case. And then we also, in tandem with that, develop more suburban pieces targeting customers in those settings. So kind of imagine more relaxing by the pool or chilling in the backyard with the barbecue type of messaging and use cases. We sent those via multiple channels such as email, social media, radio ads, direct mail, newspaper ads, as well as we incented our CSRs to discuss and upsell that solution when customers call in. So beyond just being that order taker or taking that phone call for internet, we want to discover like, well, what are you using the internet for? What problems can we solve for you? And how do we attach more of these solutions, whether that's indoor mesh, outdoor mesh, or some of these other security solutions to that. So that was kind of the goal of the CSR. In addition to that, the other piece of advice I would give on accelerating your deployments is unlocking the power of your installation techs. Last year, we really began to offer our techs incentives for upselling additional products like outdoor Wi-Fi, as well as we created some fun contests and competitions for our techs that encouraged them to add value and upsell products during the install, as well as just create a little bit of camaraderie among that team. What we saw was amongst all of our product sets, techs would find areas to add value for the customers above and beyond what the CSR initially put in for that order. So for example, with that, the technician would see that the customer might have a pool. They'd ask the customer if having Wi-Fi out at the pool was important to them. And what we would find is that for the most part, it was important. The customer may not have even known that that was a solution that Smithville offered, or even considered that as a possible solution. As kind of Kevin said at the beginning, it's kind of one of the best kept secrets. Often we found that in addition to that, customers had other concerns that we could address. So for example, the customer may have concerns that, when they're gone on vacation, or if they're just gone to work, maybe the neighbor kids were getting into the pool. For those rural use cases, maybe they had a barn with animals in it and they wanted to keep an eye on those animals. And maybe they were interested in cameras in addition to that outdoor Wi-Fi. So instead of just offering that customer internet, now we're creating these tailored solutions and finding areas to add even more value and solve very specific needs for that customer. If you want to jump to the next slide there. And thus far, we've been successful. I'd say the way that we're really measuring success as a company is threefold. We're looking at the overall adoption of our Wi-Fi Plus product. And what we found is that the vast majority of new customers, when they call in, 55% here on the slide, are taking Wi-Fi Plus versus just a couple years ago, we were only offering the internet. And as a 100-year-old company, we've only been offering managed Wi-Fi for a few years now. Roughly about 20% of our base is now in a managed Wi-Fi solution. So that's huge over just a couple of years for us. A lot of those utilizing an outdoor solution or just having that option is attractive to them. Also, increasing ARPU is important for us. And that's another way that we're measuring success as we go through this launch. As Kevin shared at the beginning, we've seen a $15 ARPU lift as we've gone through this. In some of these cases, if we're attaching security, especially professional monitored security with smart home attached, we're doubling our ARPU for those customers. So I mean, that's a huge ARPU lift for us. The other thing is NPS. We measure NPS multiple times throughout the year. We look at the trends as we go. And what we've noticed is since launching our outdoor solution, we've seen a 9-point jump in our NPS score overall as a company. So that's again huge for us, and we can directly contribute that back to these value-added services such as outdoor Wi-Fi. We want to jump to that next slide. So some next steps for us, and this is kind of where I'll leave you, is really continuing to focus on growing outdoor adoption of Wi-Fi. We were definitely in that crawl state last year. We got out there, we tested. As a company now, we're really starting to take the training wheels off and look to boost those numbers up even more as we go into this year. So that's been something that we'll be focusing on the remainder of this year into next year, as well as continue to attach other value-added services, such as those cameras, those smart home devices. We've seen that as huge things for customers that drive them to adopt outdoor Wi-Fi because they're looking to solve other problems, and having outdoor Wi-Fi allows them to solve those. We are looking to test lifestyle or persona-based packages with this. Now that we've kind of got this out in the marketplace and we've kind of heard from customers, we're starting to develop packaging around just outdoor lifestyles in general. So that's something that we're looking to implement as a company as we go through the rest of this year, as well as starting to test deployments for Smart Town to enhanced Wi-Fi coverage. So, back in 23, if you could imagine, we covered the home. Last year, we covered the backyard. This year, we'll cover the town. So that's kind of been our approach to this rollout, and it's been super successful for us thus far.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. How about we now turn it over to Greg and Christopher from Trico Go.
All right. Well, I'm Greg Bullis, Chief Operating Officer of Trico Go, and we've also got with us our marketing coordinator, Christopher Jackson. To Chris Dobson, that's going to be hard to follow. That was a great presentation. But I'm going to kind of show you a little bit about who we are. We're a little bit younger. We are, if you'll go to the next slide, you'll see we're right in the center of Georgia. And we have a pretty diverse service territory. To the southern part of our system, we're more bedroom communities, a lot of middle-class subdivisions, a lot of folks in rural settings with large tracts of land. To our north, up in particularly Putnam and Baldwin County, we have a lot of what we call lake country. We have Lake Oconee and Lake Sinclair. Lake Oconee is probably, I would say, definitely in the top 10 zip codes in the state in terms of value of homes and property. It's not quite Sea Island on the Georgia coast, but it's close. We have a lot of $1 million homes. So, from a market standpoint, our customers have a little different expectation there. We also have a lot of competitors. I think we have a total of 9 different competitors, including satellite. So we definitely have some rural areas with customers with no options, but in a lot of areas, customers have options and our competitors are starting to react. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. If you'll go to the next slide. So as I said, we started building fiber as an electric cooperative in May of 2021. And we served our first customer in September of that year. So we are a wholly owned subsidiary of Tri-County EMC, headquartered in Gray, Georgia. We're a greenfield fiber to the premises network. We've got about 1,600 miles of fiber with 9,400 customers currently. About 23,000 of those are on the cooperative system, with the cooperative owning the fiber and the subsidiary utilizing that fiber to provide service. We've also built 2,100 plus off-system passings, and we'll probably build another 800 this year to off-system locations. And of course, all of that fiber belongs to the subsidiary. So we've got kind of a blended process there with a lot of new growth coming off-system. We've got a 47% gig take rate, 74.50 ARPU, which continues to grow at a nice steady rate. As I said, we've got 9 competitors across our service territory, including the satellite providers. In several areas, we've got 3 of those kind of stacked up on top of us, or perhaps a better state, us on top of them. We have really gone out of our way to establish ourselves from the ground up as best in class in everything we do. Even though we're relatively small and new, we have maintained a 90 to 92 NPS throughout our existence. We did utilize Calix's Business Insights survey last summer. Christopher will talk a little bit more about the findings of that, but we were pleased with a 90 NPS with that as well. We do a NPS survey at the time of installation, and that's either been a 91 or a 92 throughout our existence. So we're pleased with who we are, and we're comfortable in the fact that we demand excellence across the board. Not just custom installs, but being a local provider, our on hold times are less than a minute. People can find us when they need us and know that they can trust us just as they've trusted the electric cooperative for 85 years. So if you go to the next slide, I'll tell you a little bit more about our outdoor AP strategy. as I said, we've really focused on being best in class. And in some of our areas, particularly around those lake areas, price really isn't the object, but at the same time, we're seeing competitors really pivot on price as much as their offerings for building fiber. We do have in the southern part of our system, one of our competitors, a national competitor, is building fiber on top of us and offering $24.95 pricing bundled with something, and lots of asterisks and lots of small print. And that's who we're trying not to be and to differentiate ourselves from. And everybody's used the word differentiate a good bit, and I think it's a very apt term. We really, as we set out to do this, when we first saw the first outdoor AP that Calix offered, several of us that were out in Las Vegas kind of looked at each other and said, this is perfect for a lot of our lake homes that are trying to have outdoor life. We've got pools, we've got large lake lots that can be 200, 300, 400 feet in depth from the house to the water, lots of docks, lots of outdoor living opportunities. So we saw this immediately as an opportunity to differentiate, but also really to reduce churn. How do we make our service sticky? How do we make it where, I'm not worried about price, I'm worried about the fact that Try Could Go takes care of me and provides my every need, from reliability to also that outdoor life experience. So we jumped into this, trying to figure out really how to price it, but also how to really push ARPU. So as I said, we've got a 47% gig take rate. We really only have 2 residential tiers, 250 symmetrical and gig symmetrical. So we said, okay, if we're going to do this, how do we price it? How do we set this up with customers where we can also push our gig take rate? So we decided to price the product at $29.95 if you're on our lower tier, but if you'll let us bundle you with our gig take rate, we'll reduce that to $19.95. That was a really cool idea that one of our employees came up with to try to really kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And it's worked pretty well so far. In addition to residential, we've really tried to aggressively go after problem solving at some of the venues around the service territory. Our goal is to have every football stadium in our service territory with our out there Wi-Fi set up. But also we've done some recreation complexes that are pretty vast, and honestly, some of the success there really came from chambers of commerce, rec departments coming to us and saying, hey, cell service is terrible where we're trying to set up food trucks for fireworks displays and that sort of thing. So we immediately, hey, we've got a great solution for that. Let's jump on it. Probably our best success story from a commercial standpoint is a former dairy farm that has a arena now. They took one of their large dairy barns and converted it to an event venue. And it's really beyond just a place to have a meal and a concert. Their specialty is philanthropy. They take, they've had a lot of songwriter nights, Christian artists that would come in, and they've been able to really monetize that and give back to the community in terms of tens of thousands of dollars that have been raised for local charities. And one of the comments I got from the owner is, look, we were able to have very successful events, but nobody could talk on their phone, nobody could take photos and upload it, and we certainly couldn't do a lot to monetize this. So last fall they had 600 people in that facility, and they held a live auction using cell phone apps and raised several $100,000 with very big ticket items. And we were a little nervous, but the organizers were just thrilled that they could go from a structure that had just really no connectivity to the high-tech stuff that they're able to do, streaming videos, and like I said, silent auctions, live auctions. So that was really cool for us. But really our bread and butter and where we want to go with this is custom installations. We have a little different approach. We're still using contractors a good bit for our residential installs. We're growing at about a 2.5% per month basis. So we're still using contractors for that. And we realized that with the multiple Calix offerings, the multiple situations that our techs are encountering out in the field, we really wanted to put the onus on our technicians to go out, do a survey, talk with the homeowner, and we allow them to decide which of the Calix, outdoor AP offerings are utilized. They work with the homeowner, and in some cases we've had to put in, cabling and a POV switch. But it's really led to a super high satisfaction rate. And if you'll go to that next slide, we can kind of talk through some of our results. So we've put in about 40 outdoor installations in that residential setting. We've also done a good bit of rec complexes, fire stations for students to go to places that don't have internet service at this point. And like I said, we talked about the 600 guest event venue. We've got about a 65% gig take rate versus 47 with the locations that have done the AP installations. We've increased ARPU by about 25% for customers with an outdoor AP. And what I really like is when I went back and looked, we've not had a single customer churn off of our system from those with outdoor AP. So we've been successful there so far. As Chris mentioned, spring seasonality is an issue. Now in Georgia, we can live outside just about all year, except, the occasional snowstorm. We've already sort of had spring and a little bit of summer, and then winter, and then spring and summer in the last month. We had frost in North Georgia last weekend, and it's supposed to be 88 or 89 tomorrow. So spring's kind of already here, and to that end, we're really pushing the residential product pretty heavily now into spring, and Christopher's going to tell you about some of the stuff we're doing. But we're also chasing the commercial and the event stuff throughout the year because we do have a lot of restaurants that have outdoor seating just about year round. So we're excited about that. But it's been a successful deployment. The Calix folks have been great with helping us get up to speed on how to apply the product, and with go-to-market, that's been a super success. So we're really just wanting to step on the gas pedal. So the pressure's really on Christopher now. So I will turn it over to him and let him talk about how we're marketing the product and where we're planning on going from here.
Well, the pressure is on indeed. Well, thank you, Greg. So I'm going to talk a little bit from the marketing and communication standpoint. So some of you have listened through this and perhaps are thinking, how can I do this? Where do I start? Where do I begin? So I'm going to walk you through our strategy and what we've done here at TriCode Go. So to begin, in 2024, we went through the Calix customer insight survey that Greg was mentioning, and we found among our service area, outdoor internet was one of the internet tools that was sought after the most. And as a team, we come together and we decided that this was something that we wanted to employ in our service area. And so we came up with this strategy, and from a marketing and comms perspective, we wanted to utilize everything possible. So there's this concept called the patio model in marketing, and this takes into account paid, earned, shared, and owned media. So all of these concepts we bundled, as well as social, digital, and traditional marketing. So really using a multi-channel way of communicating and marketing this this tool to the customer base that we have has really been the way that we've deployed it. And as Greg was mentioning, the stickiness aspect of what are we trying to convey in our marketing? We of course want to hold on to this 90 NPS score that we found in our Calix customer insight survey, as well as we have this high 47% gig adoption rate, and we want to hang on to that and use this stickiness to hold on to what we have, as well as leverage and increase ARPU and brand awareness. So what does this look like? You might be wondering, how can I do this, or what does communication look like when you're deploying this new device? For us, we used all aspects of what we had in-house, as well as we kind of deployed some different strategies alike. So we, of course, our media that we own, we have our website banners. We also have our social media where we posted different images on social media like Facebook. We also leveraged meta ads, as well as we have the luxury of our EMC's newsletter, where we ran the stories like Greg was mentioning of the successes of the fire stations and recreation departments, really leveraging these stories and successes of the product and the kind of feel good aspects that we're having with this tool, as well as trade shows. We found great success in showing off these devices, especially in the lake area, and really going to the customer and showing them, hey, this is the tools that we have. So sometimes you have to meet the customer where they are. So maybe that is different different events or trade shows, meeting them with the product and showing them, hey, we have a solution for your need. So all these different devices and different strategies have really been the crux of what we're doing to market and communicate that we have this internet tool. And so our next slide is going to show us a little bit about our future and the goals that we have now that we have this in our strategy. So we really want to increase customer take rate. Moving forward, Greg mentioned that we have 40 plus residential, but we also want to increase this in our commercial customers alike. So we have, as we're mentioning, the weather's getting nicer, as Chris and Greg both mentioned. This is the time to shine. So like Greg was saying, hey, we gotta put the foot to the gas and keep driving these sales. So leveraging social media, telling people that we're having these tools and showing up at different chamber events, and really just honing in on this message of, hey, we have a tool to fix a need that you have. So increasing customer take rate is one of our main goals moving forward, as well as produce high impact commercials. So it's really hard to communicate something that people don't know about. So developing some professional video content to educate and showcase these tools is something that is on my agenda, to really educate, of course, and showcase what we have to offer. And then, as Greg mentioned, we really want to deploy in community spaces. So prioritizing installations in local high school football stadiums and public spaces to both leverage our brand awareness. So when they're logging in on this public Wi-Fi, is Trico Go Presents, and then our Wi-Fi, as well as giving back to the community and people being interested in these devices for their pool areas, their barns, their docks, and all the different miscellaneous places that we can deploy these outdoor APs. But from a marketing standpoint, it's a great tool for communicators and marketers. It really helps us have a new tool in our tool belt to increase ARPU, and really we run with this tagline of best internet experience. And as Chris also mentioned, we really want to be a experience provider. So something that I've really been leveraging is extend the best internet experience. So this tool by Calix really has provided us a way to extend the best internet experience.
Fantastic. I do want to thank Chris, Greg, and Christopher. I mean, fantastic stories. The successes, the results were fascinating, very compelling. So I do want to thank each of you for sharing those stories and those successes. I guess, it's interesting. I mean, I looked at, some of the results. I mean, 90 NPS, the stickiness, as you alluded to, the incremental ARPU per month, Chris, for Smithville. Fascinating. I mean, those are eye-opening results. So definitely kudos to all of you and your teams on much more success as you roll out more outdoor Wi-Fi. I guess, I met with several customers, and I always come across the question of, I'm really hesitant on deploying an outdoor Wi-Fi. I'm not sure. I'm kind of teetering on the fence. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing. And I'd like to ask, the three of you, if you had a key, something to basically come away with and say, here's the top line of my best advice for deploying an outdoor Wi-Fi, to get those people that are on that fence to get over that fence and really deploy an outdoor Wi-Fi. I'd like to ask each of you, your thoughts on how would you, what you would tell them to convince them that, hey, deploying an outdoor Wi-Fi system is a great thing. It's something that is critical in our deployment strategies, and definitely are wholeheartedly all for more deployments in the outdoor Wi-Fi environment. So maybe Chris Dobson, we could start with you, and then we'll follow up with Greg.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely say test it. If you're on the fence, get with your customers, run a survey, do what you have to do. But everyone that I have talked to that's deployed an outdoor Wi-Fi solution, it's been a positive experience, and their customers love that. That's a solution that they are providing. So I'd say if you're on the test, you don't, like I said previously, you don't have to worry about it being perfect. Now's the time. It's spring, and people are getting out there and getting outdoors. Run a test. Pick a market that you'd like to test in, and do 10 of them and see what the results are. You don't have to commit to a full-blown solution, but I definitely say just get out there and just see how your customers respond in your markets.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If nothing else, just test it on some employees in-house and learn from that, and let them be some guinea pigs for you. I was having a conversation with one of our in-house technicians, probably our most senior technician yesterday, and we were talking about the fact that, we tend to do things the hard way, but it's also typically the best way. We absolutely abhor wall punches. We've got a competitor that's their bread and butter. They're gonna punch it through an outside wall, put the router in a bedroom or a laundry room or whatever. And unfortunately, in a lot of cases, we follow those up, and people say, well, aren't you going to put the router where the last router was? And it takes sometimes some effort to educate a customer on the right way to do it for their benefit. And I would say the outdoor APs are the same way. As I said, if you're in a deployment where you're just installing and growing as fast as you can, it might not be the right time for outdoor APs, particularly if you're leaning on contractors like we were. But our build is slowing a little bit. We're really trying to bring our installs in-house, and it was just the perfect time. We sort of pushed back on things like Arlo and some other products that would slow installs down and create noise because we're trying to go so fast. But we're at a point where this really fits well now, because we really do focus on the custom install and trying to make sure that when we leave there, the customer's got the best installation, the best technology, but the best deployment in the house that they can. And this is just an extension of that. Like I said, we let our techs make it's at their discretion what to try to deploy it at home, be it the U4HM or the P6HE. It's their call after consulting with the homeowner and finding out what's important to them. It's a little different approach, but for us, I think, Christopher nailed it with the idea of, extending what we've always done out into the spaces where the customer wants to live throughout the year. So, that would be my advice, but definitely, dive in on a small basis and try it. We have not found any real pitfalls other than a little bit of learning and, having to market a new product.
Great. It's interesting. I think both of you had a common fact of bundling it with IoT, with cameras, outdoor cameras, and it's really around that security, right? The experience of having that protection, safe and protect around your home, inside and out. So I think the bundling of cameras, outdoor cameras, along with Wi-Fi applications outdoors and in, really are key, because it sounds like you get quite a benefit and a lift in terms of bundling those, and the adoption rate is quite high when you offer that to your subscriber base. So great insights there. I guess I know we're running out of time. If anyone in the audience has a question, and we actually have one question. They'd like to know what you charge for installation. So go ahead. I'm sorry, Greg.
We charge nothing for the installation unless the customer needs let's say a place to install it on, like a 4x4 or something, halfway down. If they've got an extremely long yard, we'll even put some, Ethernet cable on the ground for, no additional cost. And then we'll reach a point where either we'll instruct the customer to bring in a managed services company, or we'll charge them on a per foot. But a typical installation with, minimal expense on our part, we don't charge anything for.
And we're the same way. We have a contract that we'll have the customer sign, but there's zero upfront cost toward the customer. It's just a monthly. We've done the same thing for our Arlo solution as well as our smart home security solution. There's zero installation costs for those. We charge a monthly, and that covers our cost of equipment and installation.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think I know that some service providers do charge an installation based on some of the research and case studies that we've developed. So it really is up to the service provider and knowing their subscriber base in terms of how they want to position the outdoor Wi-Fi offering in terms of installation, a one-time installation versus a recurring revenue stream via the monthly charge. And I'd like to, Greg, you and Christopher both kind of talked a little bit about the bundling of the gig offer with an outdoor bolt-on or add-on, and it's been very successful based on some of the results. So I think that's an insight that is a key learning in terms of how you can get that lift for a higher gig offer, but kind of attached rate with outdoor AP units and that service in terms of kind of going a little bit further in terms of that the value proposition of bundling the internet along with the outdoor Wi-Fi deployment opportunity. So great learnings. I know we're out of time. I just want to really thank Chris Dobson, Greg Willis, and Christopher Jackson for your time. Fantastic success stories. Definitely look forward, hopefully presenting and featuring you at Connections later this year in October. And Andy, you too as well for Smart Biz and providing those insights. If anybody have any questions or would like to reach out, you can contact myself, kevin.quo@calix.com. Be happy to help you out in making you successful with your outdoor deployments this year. Thank you very much. Thank you all and have a great day.